Our next guests are poised to help you with your child's educational experience. The director of Access Education, Deb Blake, and one of her student client parents, Donna Lartigue. Welcome. Hey, Deb, nice to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Donna, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. Access Education, you're an advocate for a family of a student that could use some help in a school setting.
Correct. I'm actually an advocate for the student, and then the parents bring me on to support that.
And this is your law practice, essentially specializing in this type
Well,
of
I
work.
have a legal background, but in Michigan, I am an advocate. I don't present or promote myself as an attorney because I find that tends to be somewhat adversarial. And as an advocate, I have a lot more leeway to be in a collaborative mode.
Yeah, I could see how that could be intimidating.
Absolutely.
Yes. My attorney's on the phone.
That I don't like that. I don't like that.
How did you come into this line of work?
Well, I've been in education law for a long time. I started out as a legislative attorney in education and disability rights, and then I worked as an administrative law judge in special education and education, and then also as a hearing officer out east in the Boston area. And then I moved back here to retire, and my nieces actually, who are school administrators, kind of talked to me and said, you know, we got some things going on, we got some parents that are really distraught, we got some kids that aren't getting what they need, and would you take on a few cases? So I did that and started helping out a few people, and then it snowballed.
And the school, it sounds like the schools and the teachers encourage having this type of opportunity.
Usually, yes, and in New England, I was accustomed to that because that's the way that the rule. When I first moved here, I realized that advocacy had somewhat of a negative connotation because of some of the groups and because of some of the approaches that advocates were taking. I very soon tried to undo that, and most of the school districts who have worked with me, I think, will validate that that is not my approach. And now, after a couple of years, I'm actually getting referrals from school districts, yes.
Yeah, and I would imagine that a school administrator might be more open to listening to you than 100 million parents.
We speak the same language,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, give me an example of how a particular student situation you would be involved in.
Well, my clients come from all avenues, so I'm involved in everything from multiple disabilities, severe physical disabilities, to autism spectrum disorder, to emotional health issues, children who, most of my kids can be and should be supported in the regular classroom, and a few of my kids require specific, more definite programs. But for the most part, my role and my hope is that we can provide services, and this is actually a movement through the educational systems to try to provide education in the regular classroom as much as possible.
We had a situation in one of our school districts a few months ago where a family wanted to have their child be accompanied by a guide dog at school, and they came to butt heads over it, and it became a very big controversy. Is this the kind of a situation that you might be involved in?
Absolutely, yeah.
And you've become involved with Access Education as a client, Donna. How did you come about to use Deb's services?
Well, my son has been struggling in school for a while, and I was looking for some support for him, and actually Deb was referred through another program that my son has been involved in. And so he was having several kinds of difficulties, but basically it led to me picking up the phone, like who's out there, who's available, who can help parents understand and help navigate the system to get my child the kind of support that he really needs to be academically successful in school. And so Deb's name was recommended, and I called her, and what was so incredible about Deb was she actually picked up, she answered the phone and made arrangements to be at our house later that same day and started putting a plan together in terms of how we needed to proceed. So it was right on time. It was just what I needed. You know, I've done a lot of grant making in education, so I'm very familiar with the system. Some of my previous life I had worked in philanthropy, and so I thought I pretty much could do this. I could maneuver within the system in a way that would be helpful for my son. But after struggling for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years, I knew that it was time to get some additional support, someone who understood the law and someone who understood sort of how to apply the law in trying to get the kinds of supports we needed.
I would imagine that it could be a very emotionally charged situation when a family wants to advocate on behalf of their child. Having you, I would imagine, maybe cuts down on some of the emotion that...
It is very emotional, and many times, as Donna said, I will get that phone call and it's crisis time. Either the kid is absolutely failing, everything they've done hasn't worked, they're being suspended, there's behavioral, disciplinary issues and so forth. So a lot of times I get that phone call and we've got to do something within 48 hours or get a meeting going and that type of thing. The other thing that I'll mention, I have quite a blended family. I raised 4 kids and then got them out of the house, and I adopted 4 kids with some challenges. When I go to a meeting for one of my own children, I take an advocate. Because as well as I know the system, you talk about emotions, when that's your own child, rationale, it goes right out the window. And you need someone there to keep the pace going, to keep things focused, and to take that emotion out of it and to kick you under the table, and say, be quiet, because we don't go there right now.
Right.
So, yeah, and I understand that from the parent's perspective.